Hello, welcome to CLSP Politics. Sean Briscoe speaking. So I read an article in Times Magazine, hard copy. It's been a minute. Most of my stuff comes via this thing, um, but the cover actually caught my attention. I was like, "Ruh-roh, what's this going to be about?" Well, it was. So here, I'll just share the cover with you guys, and you kind of get the idea. Uh, it's effectively it's like one of those the little flyers you put out when you're missing your pet, and it says not seen since November 4th, 2024. uh, if found, please contact. I mean, it's pretty rough, and that is the phone number for the DNC. uh, so wow, times solid burn there. Not necessarily wrong either. So it literally just came out a few days ago, and I read it and I read it again. And it's by Charlotte Alter, who I think did a pretty darn good job. She really, I'm not going to go into like huge amount of the details, but this is what's going on. So, uh, obviously 2024 didn't go the way we had hoped, right? I was on the front line. I saw it. I mean, Wisconsin did better than most, but there was a major fault. And I put a lot of that on the fact that and people have been piling on Biden's people, and the fact that they could have spoken out, spoken up, and they didn't. And here we are. We got fascists in the White House. So I have no problem everyone piling in on those guys. They obviously threw us to the wolves. Now, was it because they believed in Biden, comeback king kind of guy? But now knowing his health issues with the cancer and everything, you understand the president of the United States has some of the best health care on the planet, and they didn't know. I find that very hard to believe. And now we've got books that have come out that kind of back that up. They definitely knew something. So we didn't have a primary, which I think is what's going on. And keep in mind, he pulled out with 180 days left in the election. I mean, the best I think you could possibly do, and keep in mind, you'd have Republican governors and Republican legislatures and most of the red states fighting against us running a primary that late. Because it takes the states to, I mean, yes, we run the primary, but you know what I mean? The states are pushing back. They'll take it to court. Oh, now it's sitting in a court of law. So 180 days isn't enough time to do an emergency primary. I don't even know what that would look like. And, it not being on the normal day, or what kind of primary vote are you turning out? What does that even look like? And given the fact that, you know, women of color have been the backbone of the Democratic Party for generations now, and that we had our first POC female VP, and we were going to do an in run around her, that's a real quick way to lose the general election anyway. So, because of Biden's people, they kind of put us in a bad position. And that's what was going on, you know? So now we're doing the postmortem. We're looking at it. There's been a lot of promising, special elections, and of course the Supreme Court race that I was involved in Wisconsin. Definitely part of that. And what we're looking at here is um, the article goes in to talk about, some of the congressmen that were, if you're pro gun, or if you're not pro gun control, like at the level they are, then that's a litmus test and you should be thrown under the bus. Um, they realized that that was not a solution, that all politics is local, and what would work in, Massachusetts or Connecticut probably wouldn't work in Texas. In fact, I laugh because like the Republicans they have in Washington State remind me of the Democrats we have here in Texas. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that, the Republicans running in Washington in order to get elected talk about all the stuff the Democrats here in Texas talk about and don't get elected. It's, it's interesting. Um, uh, Case in point, when I was up there in 2012 in August, we were watching their primary, all the commercials were on, and you had a guy talking about, free education and healthcare and da da da, and just a whole litany. And then he's like, I'm a Republican and I'm running for it, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, wow. Hmm. It's hard to get Democrats in Texas to talk about half that stuff. Anyway, so what are the solutions? The article goes into quite a bit. And some of the, like, Hogg is getting a little bit of flack because he's pulled together $20 million to primary uh, Democrats that are over a certain age um, in safe districts. And I'll be honest, I'm okay with that because think about it. We've got 4 vacancies in the House right now because attrition from old age. We lost that vote, that O triple B, the one big beautiful bill. We lost it by 1 vote. Now, I mean, I know we got one of the congresspersons were in Houston, where the governor Hot Wheels here in Texas is all like, oh, we're not filling that seat till November. So you have a huge swath of one of the largest cities in this country that has no representation. You have almost 1 million people in Houston who have no representation in Congress right now because that's how they're passing stuff. Never mind the Senate, where, I mean, in the Senate, the Republicans, they have, they have, 53 seats, but they don't have, if you look at the population, I mean, North Dakota, Wyoming, these are not states with a lot of people in them. Meanwhile, that's what you often hear about, that a voter in, Wyoming for Senate is 12 times more powerful than a vote in California for the same seat. And it's true because there's, the Senate is just too, never, doesn't matter how many people are in each state, right? So the Senate is controlled by the minority of the population in this country. So that's fun. And some of the solutions, I think, honestly, are primary these guys. We need younger people. The Republicans did this in 2010. Their Tea Party movement. They primaried all sorts of Republicans up and down there. Pal, these guys are like been there for 30 years. They're like, oh, they're entrenched Republicans now. Guarantee all those Republicans that did that in 2010, and here we are 16 years later, they're sitting in those same seats going, oh no, experience matters. So and disingenuous is pretty much what they do. Yeah, so I think that's one of the solutions. And then they talk about language, and the reporter went in and asked a lot of these congressmen, well, what went wrong? Like, well, we got to fight for the people. We got to fight for da 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 da. Now the problem was this, the Democrats know what's coming. They're going yes, the status quo sucked. Yes, it didn't work for most people in this country. And yeah, that's all true. Also, burning it to the ground is not the solution, but it's what the Republicans are going to do. So we were fighting for the institution, and we want to go in and change it. And we've tried many times, and we've been blocked by the Byrd rule in the Senate, or just shenanigans in the House. I mean, they've done a real good job. Like, people are like, well, why didn't Obama do more? Obama literally had 18 months to get everything done, and he passed the ACA, which is more I can say for pretty much every president before, and I mean, going back 40 years, and then coming now ahead a couple, almost over a decade. No one's been able to do anything like that. Healthcare reform in this country? Come on, there's too much money, too many special interests. That's not a thing. And he had 18 months. Yeah, he was there for all those years. He had 18 months to get it done because he had control of the Senate and the House. Really, 2008, 2009. That was it. And, it takes a few months to get your act together. And while they were doing that, I remember doing house parties talking about what you would like to see in the ACA. And then we put all that, gave that all back to the White House and said, this is what people are saying. And then that's what they did. And what did Republicans do? They came in and they gutted it. Or like Lincoln and a few other former Democratic senators, they tried to save their seat by siding with the Republicans. So we had the call was coming from inside the House, and he still got it done. So it's really hard when the Republicans don't play by the rules that in theory, we all agree to, and so to get things done. So what this article actually advocates for is stop playing nice. The buddy buddy system's not coming back. This is not Tip O'Neill's house. It's just not. And the second the Democrats figure that out, Harry Reid should have figured that out when he was in power. Instead, he let Mitch McConnell walk all over him. That's how come we have the Supreme Court we have right now. Harry Reid's not going to be around. And, none of these old guys are going to be around in 20, 30 years. We will. And we're going to have to be dealing with this nonsense. So I would rather have people that are in the same boat as me, as far as who's going to be in this country 15 years from now, making decisions for our country 15 years from now. Not a bunch of old geezers who are, if they are still around, they're just going to be in a rocking chair on some porch somewhere with their nice big old fat pension. Also, she talks about the fact that they just can't relate. I mean, the last time they were out of Congress was probably in the 80s or 90s, maybe, back when in theory you could afford a home. We have a whole generation that can't afford housing right now. So yeah, I just don't think they can relate. I think the voters can't relate to them. They're just too old. And the boomers had their time. I mean, they've really had their opportunities. They've had every presidential candidate since like Bush, because Reagan and the first Bush was more the World War II generation. They've had every president since Clinton. And I think it's time to make a change. I have no problem primarying these Democrats. I'd rather get someone in there in their 30s and 40s because at least they're going to be in the same boat I'm in. And I think that's what the voters are looking for. This was my rant. You got to go check out the article. There's no digital one that I could find that doesn't have a paywall, so I'm not going to put it on my channel. But go to the Times. If you're paying for the subscription, you can go on their website. It's down and out. You'll find it. It's absolutely worth reading, and you need to. Like and subscribe my channel. If you wish to support my channel, we have a PayPal at CLSP Politics. Hope everyone has a great day. Bye.